Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. I'm Flav from the Blockchain Game Alliance, and today video is about the Telegram ecosystem, gaming on Telegram. We're going to talk about that. I don't know if you saw that, but over the last few months, nothing has been louder in Web3 gaming than the Ton ecosystem. We had games and we have games like Hamster Combat reaching 142 millions of registered users within 77 days. You may know that Telegram is, it's 900 million monthly active users, representing what is perhaps the largest distribution channel for Web3 users. And it's perceived as more secure. We're going to talk about that, protective of user privacy, but it's primarily seen as the crypto communication app. And we're going to talk about that, how the Ton ecosystem stand out as one of the strongest candidates to push the adoption of Web3 at scale. And today we're going to dive into into social gaming as well, take a close look at the Ton ecosystem, explore what makes Telegram unique in terms of user acquisition, growth, and highlight projects in the BGA with BGA members that are currently building, developing games on Telegram. And finally, answer the questions of whether there is any substance to the hype we know. So super happy to be here with our members today. And, as an intro, I would love to have everyone introducing themselves and the company. So if I may, start with Michael, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. I'm Michael. I'm the community engagement specialist here at GAMEE. And to give a kind of a short introduction, what is GAMEE? GAMEE is a company that operates within the intersection of blockchain and mobile gaming. You can imagine us as connecting gamers, brands, and other Web3 projects via playing games on Telegram.
Awesome. Super happy to have you, Michael. Kori from Pixelverse, super happy to have you as well. If you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So one of the co-founder of Pixelverse, previously worked at Binance Listing, just wallet head of BD. And Pixelverse, the game ecosystem with adornment, Apple casual gaming. We do have like some of the title coming. You can think of Pixelverse as kind of publishing platform, let's say, based on the number of users that we have. And we've been pretty successful with one game called Pixel Tap, which has been one of the top three biggest Telegram mini games. Recently, because in June we onboarded 50 million users, and we launched our token 1 week ago on the 18th of July, and yeah, we had just very good launch, like 150 daily volume day one, and yeah, good ROI for early investors and for pretty much everyone. And we airdropped to 1 million people, and the biggest airdrop for these users was $500 for the top users. And yeah, that's pretty much it about Pixelverse.
Awesome, man. I know that you're building a whole ecosystem. It's going to be interesting to see how you position Telegram into this strategy. So super happy to have you. And lastly, Tom, happy to have you. If you can do the same and give us
Sure thing. Yeah. Hey, my name is Tom Kopera. I'm a CEO of Olympics. I started my journey in blockchain space by building Next Block Expo. It's one of these conferences in CEE, one of the biggest in Warsaw, in Berlin. Then I wanted to build my own startup, and then I joined the Olympics team as a COO. And what we are building is actually the competitive Web3 gaming protocol built on the foundation of the social gaming infrastructure, now optimized for Telegram and EVMs. So basically, we are enabling game developers to crazy easily build competitive games on Telegram and beyond, frankly speaking. But we're focusing now heavily on Telegram. It means like in 3 to 6 weeks, every game developer on planet Earth can build a competitive games on the esports level of security without extending a team. It's like very easy to build on, and then tap into the user base of Telegram, in an instant, right? So we're basically bridging this opportunity between 1.5 million game developers of Unity and 900 million Telegram users very, very easily.
Awesome. I'm super happy to have all of you to this conversation, because obviously you are pretty much involved in this Telegram ecosystem and already building concrete examples of success for Telegram. So it's going to be super interesting to capitalize on your expertise. And so Telegram, the fifth largest social app, the second messenger app, the second fastest growing app as well. So definitely based on the social layer of the app, we see very interesting things based on what we could do with the Telegram app. So do you think, like, would you say the social layer, as I just mentioned, encouraging competition and other social activities with gaming, is it the #1 benefit Telegram has to offer to games? And if not, which aspect makes Telegram unique for gaming, according to you? If I may start with you, Michael.
Absolutely. So I think #1 thing what everybody should know, that just Telegram started out as almost a communications application, which was by itself something very interesting. And over time, we saw a lot of amazing developments coming to Telegram as bot creation, creating normal community type of integrations. And as soon as it came, we also started to get games. I think when basically Telegram offers a normal, robust, many features that could really empower gamification into the space. It's not just by itself a communications app or even just utilizing bots. You can even now have your own connected wallet towards a simple communications application. And when I think it brings the competition into the game, it's definitely a game changer out there for many communication apps as well. And you can utilize this by getting more people into one community and interacting with them either by playing games, giving some certain activities. There's a lot of ways that you could create longevity, sustainability, and a very interactive hub of gamers or Web3 enthusiasts all alike.
Tom, do you share the same insight on your side? Like, obviously, social layer is super important for community-based activities. So, what do you think?
But I think, like, we should kind of a little bit rewind back to what was a challenge, and it still is in a sense, of Web3 gaming. So prior to Telegram, let's say, everyone was focusing on this mantra, how to onboard in an easy way new people to Web3, including obviously Web3 gaming. So we all knew that gaming as a substance is enjoyable enough to attract these people, but then we need to have proper UX. By proper, I mean like easy to understand UX for the newcomers, right? So that's what Telegram did pretty well with built-in wallet to the most social messaging app, right? So that's point #1, I would say. The second one is like really, really obvious, because when you look at what has been built prior to Telegram in the Web3 gaming space with the launchers, right? So now Telegram enables to launch a game within Telegram itself. So it can be like a simple game launched on like a browser game, even built in Unity, right? But launched on Telegram inside, right? So this is the thing. And obviously the social layer adds a lot of user acquisition potential and retention kind of boosting potential. So let's say the Notcoin example, Hamster example, amazingly big traction in terms of users in a short period of time. I'm not so sure about the retention, but for some reason they're showing a lot of traction on the number of people, but not for the stickiness, right? And that's sort of a challenge. We do it pretty differently in a way that we started when building an infrastructure to enable game developers. We started to build some gamification around retention and stickiness, and now we are at this stage of scaling and looking for users that come for the sake of experience of gaming on Telegram.
Yeah, stickiness will be something we will need to talk about, because we see user growth as a massive data point. It's going to be my next question as well. But this engagement is a big part of how you define a good game as well. So, Kori, what would be the best benefit according to you for building a game on Telegram?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we stopped speaking about our numbers, I think 2-3 weeks ago now, because it's like difficult. At some point, it's just vanity metrics, like you're already, even 10 million was probably already enough to say out loud. But yeah, the stickiness of users is obviously the challenge, because what we are observing is that the number of users that we have converting from the Telegram game to the web browser game, we have 10 million users only. So it's like, on the 75, we are converting 10 million on the web browser game, which is a lot, but it's still like a very big churn. And we are the only one with a web browser gaming experience in addition of the Telegram game. So I have no idea of like the numbers that actually like others that to earn game have, but I think the retention must be quite low. For me, I'm more bullish in general in Telegram ecosystem in general for social features. I think that's what has been proven to be the most interesting for us, because first, the referral system worked really well. But also stuff like in 1 week or 2-3 weeks, they will be outdated already. I think the new wave of Telegram game will be probably social based still for the initial boost of users, but then they will need to shift to a more like interesting type of gameplay because the community is already very tired of tap to earn type of game. That's why we wanted to launch very quickly. We've been criticized for launching that quick because we essentially started the game on beginning of June and we launched 1 month and a half after, but I don't know how others are doing it, like to sustain the community for 3 months, saying they will be launching something on the tap to earn game because there is no substance behind that. So yeah, my take on Telegram, I think we would have never reached the success that we had in terms of user acquisition without the social features. This is for sure, because yeah, the Telegram is already installed on your telephone, so you can simply feel that it's a secure way. If I had to launch like Pixel Tap on App Store, like first I will have so many limitations from economical integration of cryptocurrencies. It would have been just so slow, but I think with Telegram and the social features that there is, you can really react on the market extremely quickly. And what we see on this cycle, if we look at the macro, is that the macro is about only economy of attention. Memes are taking over. Why? Because memes, they are simply something that you want to catch directly. Oh, Kama, okay, Kama X100, what the, like, okay, guys. But it's only because it is a trend. And I think all this cycle, as there is not a clear narrative at the moment on the cycle, except meme coins, people are simply like, and they should look at Telegram as a way to catch one trend. And I think after Tap 2 there will be a new trend coming from social fi angle on Telegram, and that's more interesting for me rather than anything else actually in terms of potential for Telegram.
Great angle for further discussion. What comes next? I mean, I wouldn't mind talking about it.
Same.
Yeah,
I think it's the better games that come next, and as well as the monetization of the game. I think we're going to see a wave of real, because the STAR program has been integrated only like 6th of June, so it means that it's only 1 month. So we are even not only from Tap 2 perspective or gaming integration perspective in Web3 early stage, but we are in a gaming Web2 type of game early stage. So what I would love to see is more Web2 games, like a bit like Farmville type of wave when there was like Facebook. And I was playing this game. I was in high school and I was playing this stuff and I remember it like so popular, and we were like discussing with my friends, like sharing our statistic and stuff on some more like strategic type of game. And I would love to see, and I would have preferred to see actually this wave, and after the Web3 wave, rather than Web3 than Web2, because I think that's the gameplay that's what we want to bring on the table, like at Pixelverse, you bring like more complex gaming mechanics. And we are not defending ourselves as Tap 2 game, but I think first I would love to myself play a very good Web2 game. Maybe it's a quiz, like you challenge your friend about like general quizzes or some small competitive game like idle mode, this kind of stuff, and then after integration of Web3 experience, because people are coming into Telegram mini games with anticipation of making money, and this is not healthy. And ourselves, we've been like trying very cautiously to never say you are going to make money with playing our game. Like never we said something like this, but still in the imaginary of people, they were expecting that they would be getting an airdrop of $1,000, which is totally unrealistic because there is so many Web2 users.
If I can, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but it's very interesting exactly what Kori said. And, it's pulling in almost the Web2 users into Web3 or starting at Web2 to go into Web3. And I think what is very important today, is the function of education within these type of subjects, to educate your community and user bases and people to understand where and how you're aiming to what. Kind of a learn to earn function, I think it's learn to earn. I didn't remember now correctly. But the idea basically would be around educating users and rewarding them in the process. I do see that as a very important future, because I noticed that's how onboarded me, like let's say into Web3, and I came from Web2. There was a lot of questing around to understand how to use wallets and so on, yada yada, the same old Web3 experience. But it's very important for users which come into Telegram and of course to play games, to understand what they're getting into. How does this function? What can I get from this? How can I be a part of this community? How can I learn more about the company and the games coming through? So I actually really liked what you jumped on there, because it's definitely very important to educate Web2 users and pull them into Web3 with time. We want to start at Web2 before we go into Web3, because people jumping into Web3 do not know what's happening.
That's a cool comment. And what you said, Michael, corresponded to what Kori said from the perspective of onboarding. And there was another angle of what Kori mentioned back then about the monetization as well.
Yes.
And I think I wanted to pick up on this one because, frankly speaking, we had like a pretty long journey already, holding a really strong bet for the last, I think, 4 years, building towards a future where the intersection of blockchain and gaming, it lies in competitive gaming that is being settled on chain. So blockchain becomes like a payment rails with multiple different types of challenges that people can perform between each other. So instead of counting on airdrops, they can simply say, "Hey, let's just play like a skill game, right?" And I'm gonna bet like $5 myself that I'm gonna outbeat you, right, for this game, and you bet your $5, right? So we have like a $10 prize pool that can be immediately distributed towards the winner after the ends, the game ends, right? So we've been building the whole infra towards PvPs, leaderboards with this type of mechanics for last years, even among Axie Infinity hype. And the one question that we got back then was, can you do it in metaverse? So that was the question basically, right? Now we can clearly see that the skill gaming and blockchain is shaping a trend, but there is still like a lot of like a high entry of barrier to kind of tap by game developers into that segment. Because to build such a game, especially like a real-time multiplayer, you need to have completely different resources. Even if you want to build it, or let's say if you want to build it properly on the esports security level, let's say, you won't be able to easily access that kind of experience if you're a small studio, right? That's why what we build is just basically aim to onboard hundreds, if not thousands, of developers to that kind of segment. And looping back to Telegram and the native wallet is that this is the missing puzzle and has always been the missing puzzle, so that people can easily tap into this kind of a gameplay, right? And just to prove you some numbers now, like we have got some support from Tone Foundation, and we just kicked off this initiative of Game Camp. So it's like towards game developers more than players. So we're attracting them for a 6-week program to build this kind of games. And after first week of promo, we have like 270 submissions of like a real developers, not the bots, right? So it shows a demand. That's what I'm just saying. I'm saying it's going to be like 100% sure the next trend, but it shows the demand, and we are betting very heavily on it.
That's a perfect segue to talk about game developers and to focus on them, especially with the kind of conversation we have within the BGA and seeing game companies being interested in Telegram games. Mostly, could we agree, based on what you all said, could we agree that just saying that, okay, Telegram, 900 million of users, it is the most effective way to have easy user acquisition? It should be the only incentive to explain why you should build a game on Telegram, based on what you said, Kori, because that's not about just acquiring users. It's also how you retain them and how do you propose some game mechanics. So could we all agree to say to game developers, and based on what you just said, Tom, because you try to attract them, that shouldn't be the only incentives to say that because you have so many users on Telegram and easy access to a wallet, that you as a game developer, you should be on Telegram. So maybe starting with you.
I don't want to dominate the discussion, but I can naturally pick it up, frankly speaking, because we really heavily focus on developers. And yes, I do agree with you that it should be enough in terms of incentive, but game developers are these kind of beasts that are having principles. Like when they heard about Web3 something bad, they would never touch it, right? So they say, okay, no, Web3, NFTs, no, I'm not going to touch it. That's it. That's the what they leave as kind of conviction. So if you ask me, like, how were we able to convince game developers? Always, it's way easier to convince those that are already on Telegram, or at least those in Web3 space. But we still, convinced Web2 developers, but it requires more education. So we say to them, guys, like, we are abstracting away like all the complexity of blockchain. So you do not need to know anything about blockchain, anything about building bots. You just remain game developers building games in Unity. Like all of that is like, the whole thing, other than, the game itself, is added in form of the SDK. And that's what convinced them. So I believe that they need to have like really like tools that are not pushing them to learn new stuff, but rather easily tapping to the opportunity of the user base. That's one thing. And then, as Michael said, education is the key. That's why we're building like the whole education hub for game developers on Telegram, like with the whole e-learning and certificates and everything. So that's at least our focus, and hopefully we can succeed with it. But it's not easy process. That's what I can tell you already for the last couple of 2 years of convincing developers to tap into Web3 on different angles. Now with Telegram, it's easier, obviously, this user base, but it's never been easy to approach them and convert them.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
If I could jump into this, and I completely understand where Tom's coming from perspective, because in my days I used to actually also work with a lot of game developers themselves, and they were very scared to jump into the idea of NFTs and Web3 and what does this mean. And what I did see kind of raging now and coming out into the space is a lot of indie game developers, which are just students fresh out of high school. They love gamification, and they're looking for the most easiest way to tap into a big audience and to create a very simple and enjoyable game. And that's why we're seeing a lot of I would say even just small games coming out there and trying to dominate many audiences like in their local countries, which kinds of pleases them. But I do think that there's a big potential because Telegram has a 900 million user acquisition, which is a wide perspective. And if we're going to get in here more people with more initiatives to try and create their own fun game, which they believe is going to be amazing, it's a great way to start off things, because we are onboarding necessarily a lot of developers into the space which just come here for the idea of fun and to create their own small project. So I just wanted to just elaborate with Tom. That's also something I saw in the past.
Kori, I would love to have your perspective. You talk about that. You initiated a little bit the conversation around it shouldn't be only around acquiring user easily based on Telegram app and the social app. But what do you think? Well, what should be the...
I think there is two types of audiences. Like for me, one key challenge would be to attract existing EVM builders into Telegram ecosystem, because it's mostly related to Tom. And I had some discussion like recently with one of our investors, and they were like, actually, I'm advising some of my portfolio to build on Solana and to go on Telegram. The reason why is because the Solana audience is richer in general than the Tom, let's say, audience. And there is the same level of social features for so many aspects. So I'm seeing more and more people like from Solana going into Telegram mini app games. In our case, we have multi-chain approach. Our token is EVM, and we are building like kind of L2 technology on top of what we have. Bullish obviously on Tom, but it's mostly because of the integration that it has on Telegram for monetization and payments. But otherwise, I think today the people that are the more advanced game developers, Web3, they are all EVM based. Like you look at Pirate Nation, like it's extremely good what they are doing, or some of the recent success, or running like a team of running like super strong Axie and doing another success with Pixels and have so many games in the pipe. So I think this is the type of people that I would love to see building on top of Telegram minigames, because I mean, we probably all good, but I think there is still some like I would say OG teams or like real guys who understand how to handle like token economy and on-chain game activities. And I think what's missing at the moment is probably the on-chain activity that we see on all the Telegram mini games. Ourselves, we don't have on-chain activity yet, almost like very minimal. The reason why is mostly because of fee perspective and the education part. So we are at the really beginning, I think, of on-chain activity on Telegram games. And this is probably going to be, I think, the next challenge. And I would love to see more Web3 existing developer going into that. And for the Web2 or Web3 that wants to jump, I think for them it would be, maybe they would be the one actually going into more quickly, because they see the opportunity and have less legacy as well. And if you don't have zero legacy, let's jump in directly. Let's use the SDK from Tom, and let's go. But for existing team, I think they will do experimentation. But I would love to see those guys experimenting actually in this part, because so far they are maybe just starting, but they're not yet, or they didn't build or launch a game there. So yeah, this is my take there.
Awesome. Next question will be, obviously the purpose of this conversation is, as you said, Telegram games is very new, although it's very popular. It's gaining more and more traction. There is an interest from the BGA, but also the blockchain gaming space to understand what it is exactly. From my perspective, and obviously I'm changing a little bit as far as I could go deeper into the subject, but when I learned about Telegram gaming, it was all about tap to earn. And being a player myself, big player, that's very rough, to be honest with you. Although I do see what you said, I do understand what you said about Facebook games. I was all about that as well in my teenage age. But educate me, like, are we still in an age of Telegram games based on the tap to earn mechanics, or should we expect more and we will see more? And do we already see more things going on in terms of possibility of game mechanics on Telegram? So question for every one of you, so I don't want who would like to start.
I think I can, because on this case, it's probably a topic I know the most. I know even the metrics that we have internally. They are good, but we reached a plateau. At 75 million users, there is a plateau, there is a ceiling. You look at the interaction or the activity from all tap-to-earn games that didn't launch their token, all activity is decreasing. On social media, all the interaction is decreasing. A number of views that they're doing are decreasing. Everything is decreasing. It's because it's a trend. The trend is last like 28, 21 to 1 month. And then after people move to something else. Because again, I think this cycle is like so rough into the attention economies. That's like everyone has PTSD, but like even more than the previous cycle. It's like it's crazy. This cycle, like you're cool for 3 weeks and then everyone's forgot about you. So no, tap to earn, like I think it's the end of the. I mean, there will be some launches, but I think with the launches that are coming, 2-3 launches, maybe a bit more, but then after it will end. But I think tap to earn will stay in a different form, but I believe that the duration of the airdrop will be either for very short, but for meme coins, like pure meme coins, distribution of very quickly tokens, because the model of distributing the token based on social activity is interesting. Either it's tap to earn or something else. It's definitely interesting, this model. The only issue with this model of distribution is that you don't know the value of each user. Like you don't know how much tokens they have or the wallet and stuff. And there is not the feeling of insiders that you feel when you are buying on Dextool, Meme-Coin, and Solana. So there is still some problem, but I believe that, yeah, the social aspect will still continue in terms of distribution, but probably with a smaller and shorter farming period. And I think it's the same for all the game in Web3. I think the game who are like, even Pixelmon that I really love as a team, there was some complaint. There is always complaints from farmers, but essentially the more you delay the stuff, the more people are getting tired. And I think they are more and more getting tired because, unfortunately, you cannot reproduce like the success of Pixels or the success of Notcoin indefinitely, because having this support from Binance, all the player and everything is time to time. And I think the audience will be either getting like more professionalized, so they will be essentially reducing their anticipation and their expectation from the tap-to-earn games. Then tap-to-earn will still exist, but they will be professional farmers, like we saw on the previous cycle with social farming. They will be like, okay, I'm going to farm also 10 games. I know that maybe one will succeed with a good launch. I would be making like $500 out of it, when the other one, maybe I will not even like getting anything. So yeah, I think this narrative is obviously like losing momentum, but it's opening because it's giving like so much attention to Telegram games that have been contacted by so many Web3 builders that wants to explore it because they are struggling with the acquisition channel. And when those guys will be coming, I think you are going to see like very interesting plays, but that will be more complex game mechanics.
Yeah, that was a really comprehensive overview, I would say. A couple of my takeaways from what you, Kori, said is that, at least that's my feeling and my interpretation of what you said, is that tap-to-earns are more about, let's say, a distribution layer for airdrops,
Yes.
kind of user acquisition for something what's going to come next. And you know, when I was talking with the ton community, even, they are a little bit tired already, not a little bit, they're tired with tap-to-earns. They're like thinking and anticipating what comes next. And when you look at the principles, like, you know, the game should engage you as a gamer, right? And the motivation for tap-to-earns is that you tap these freaking things for airdrop, right? So this is by design temporary, okay? So that's why, you know, we've been looking at the tap-to-earn. We skipped that trend. I mean, we purposely said, okay, we don't want to distract, even though the opportunity was really, really big. So our belief is that we want to build something that is having like sustainable economic model that is not related to airdrops or like, token inflation, where people are actually, paying into the game like stable coins, and that's not related on anything else. And these models is not something new, frankly speaking. If you look at the Web 2 and different platforms that are called like, paid competitive games like skills.com or, mobile Premier League, they've been for years there. And regardless if it's the bull run in crypto or the bear market, this mechanics drives people with the engagement by design. It's like this a typical thrill of risk that is involved when you play, even like when you play poker, let's say. It's not qualified as a skill, but just for the sake of the example, play poker with some money involved. When you have some stake in, it's completely different, vibe when you and engagement in the game itself and the game itself. You're not doing that for the airdrop, right? So that's the thing. But still, Tap to Earns, showed that the easy type of the game is having really huge potential of onboarding people. So the hyper casual games might be the segment that will obviously experience the growth from Telegram as well. But I'm a big fan of implementing their monetization that is attractive enough for game developers to tap into there. And that our belief is going to be about, like, let's call it like a compete to earn, whatever that would be called. But it's all about like PvPs, etc.
No, I shouldn't jump on that because it's very true what you're saying. This is kind of a trend that is lasting now for, I mean, I remember when it started to pop up on Twitter and everybody sharing their combos and all their, like, what you should buy and so on. Thank heavens I don't see it anymore. But it's indeed like a trend that we see following. And, this, like, let's say lasts another few weeks or so, but then there will come a new competitor in the game, somebody which creates something new and innovative. And where there's always competition, it's going to breed a lot of innovation. However, I do see that in the future, people can grow tired of like simple tap. They might want to do something different. They actually might want to have fun in games. That might be the possibility. And here at GAMEE, we want to create games that are interactive, bringing people to play for longer periods of time and have a fun time playing these games. That's what we see a lot of happening in the community, people asking to play with other friends or challenge other people to play along. One of the core things that we saw was to make games as, yes, fast-paced, not like insanely long strategic games or so, but fast-paced, because as you would see in today's today's society, everything is almost fast-paced. People do not have that luxury to play long games. Like, let's say when we were teenagers, we had all the time to play Farmville, but now you have to really encourage people to play more games at a faster rate. It's actually kind of insane, like how people are trying to speed up the process as much as possible to get user attention, user engagement, and also distribution.
I love it, guys. Definitely careful about the time, but I think there are so many topics based and related to what you just said. So definitely we'll be happy for a second round. But I would love to focus as well on your project specifically, because as I said, you are working on specific activities in Telegram ecosystem right now, and I would love to give everyone some insights and context about what you're doing. Starting with you, you talk about that, Kori, a little bit with the Pixelverse. We know that there is a very successful Telegram game. You're developing a dashboard. It seems like you want to develop a whole ecosystem for the Pixelverse. There's something we call the Pixelverse, so a whole universe of what you're building. So what is your vision, and how do you position Telegram as part of the strategy for Pixelverse?
Mm-hmm. So we started building a game beginning of the year. We had the simple idea of doing like very accessible game. And when I was researching at Binance Listing Anything, I was just looking at consumer application and meme coins. So I was the one who introduced the team to Bonk or some stuff like this, because I was like, okay, these are so good at catching attention. That's what we want. So we started to develop, I would say, to keep it very simple, like a pixels competitor, let's say, like 2D type of game, because what they are doing so well is that they are so easy, so accessible, even if Ronin is not probably the easiest and most democratized, but they have a very strong community of people that already know how to use that, so they can leverage it. But essentially, we're thinking about, we can create accessible games that's going to bring people into Web3. So we started with Telegram very early, because even in November, we started like building some bots and stuff. We had a game called Pixel Fights, but when Notcoin actually launched, we saw that people now, they shift in their minds that from, this is a waste of time, that this is valuable. So we directly jump into it. We rebranded from Pixel Fight to Pixel Tap. The next day, 200K people like joined the game. The next day, 500,000. So it was like pure exponential. I think the biggest day we had was something like 3 million people joining the game, purely insane in one day. And what we do essentially, we want to manage distribution, because I think that even if I'm defining our company as a game ecosystem or infrastructure, because we're building piece of infrastructure, the only thing I'm always like super honest with myself is that if I'm not handling distribution, I will die, because we've seen on all the 2 cycles that there is so many dead infrastructure that I don't want to be a new dead infrastructure or a new dead type of game. So in anything we do, we are really thinking about growth hacking it. We can become not like just a game, but become the game with the biggest numbers and the biggest eyeballs. Because once you have eyeballs, you can pretty much do everything. We did partnership with Pudgy Penguins. I mean, all kind of game, like launching 1 month and a half, get Pudgy Penguin, which is the biggest Web3 IP in the whole space with the punks. And for me, it's probably even better than the punks, because they have the angle of distribution and recognition with the cuteness of the character and stuff. So, and now we're going to integrate more meme coins into the games that are tier 1 meme coins. So that's the idea of the Pixelverse. The Pixel universe is an ecosystem of games that wants to make Web3 accessible. But I think 50% of the value is to be kind of a media company / a publisher. That's why we have a YouTube channel where we are publishing content. We have 2 million followers there that we drive there, and I'm publishing video about crypto Web3. The next video will be super educational. Because at the end of the day, I just want people to know about Pixelverse. Like, that's the only thing that matters, because I've seen so many infrastructure, very good game and stuff. At the end of the day, no one knows about it, and people forgot about the tokens, and they look at the token, the price is not good, so they think it's not valuable, which is not necessarily correlated as well. So yeah, Pixelverse, Pixel Universe, bringing Web3 IPs, Web3 publisher, Web3 games inside us, defining ourselves as a publisher and a media company, and building some pieces of infrastructure to facilitate the jobs that we are trying to do ourselves, essentially. So yeah, that's the Pixelverse, Pixel Universe, just bringing everyone and trying to make something cool out of it, with 2 flagship games, 1 MMORPG and the Pixel Tab that has been released, and the MMORPG will be released on closed beta at the end of August.
Okay, coming pretty soon. Awesome, thanks a lot. And I will obviously put every links you will allow me to put on the YouTube on the video as well. So super interesting. And going to, you were talking about Pudgy Penguins and community, so going to you, Michael, because at GAMEE, obviously you are one of the, maybe the first like very OG gaming platform, developing a lot of games, making Web3 games very popular with the mobile games you launch on the platform. No, I may not say focusing, but you have a big focus on Telegram gaming as well. So explain a little bit about your gaming strategy into Telegram gaming, with a focus on what you did for one of the biggest community, NFT community, which is Mochaverse.
Yes, it's a very interesting actually type of event that happened, because we helped Mochaverse to basically grow their community insanely on Telegram. And we actually reached, if I'm now looking here within the stats, we actually gained for them 650,000 new community members and created over 280,000 Mocha IDs. So overall, the growth hack, as Kori was explaining, is very important when it comes to actually utilizing Telegram communities and channels, and utilizing them for other brand building purposes, and to help other Web3 projects get out there. It also helped us to almost get 3 million daily active users as well, also from the Mochaverse ecosystem and other types of projects that we have worked along with and partnered with in the past. And this not only just helps us to get more eyeballs, but also helps to increase revenue production, you could say, in the long term, which creates sustainability for companies, projects to go further and develop more amazing things. Because overall, it's very important that there is a sustainable path of providing the main core of a project, and also offering something different that can help to grow a community or to facilitate a strong environment or ecosystem for our gamers. And I would like also to just say that in terms of what we're doing, we are trying to prioritize a experience for gamers. We want them to experience something new. We also want them to tap into other projects within the space and Web3 projects to understand how they work, what they can gain from them, and also pull in other Web3 projects into gamification on Telegram to bring them closer to the ecosystem on Ton. It's kind of a vice versa type of symbiosis that we're trying to achieve here, and we do see a lot of great results coming from it. Overall, it is exploring all the opportunities that are out there and utilizing them to the max with the position where Telegram has over 900 million users worldwide. 900 million users acquisition. This is quite insane and a very powerful momentum that a lot of projects want to get out there. They want to have more eyeballs on their Web3 projects and trying to tie into new possibilities, which would be the Ton ecosystem and Telegram itself.
I love it. Thanks a lot, and super happy to see why it makes sense to actually help an NFT community to go into Telegram gaming, because I do think it serves a lot of KPIs they have on their side. And Tom, you already talked about a little bit about the Basecamp arena you're doing. You have some support from the Ton ecosystem. So what could you highlight on your side based on what you're doing?
Yeah, I think I started with the fact that Defraire did a really great job both moderating the chat, but also like making the composition of people on the chat. Because Kori explained Pixelverse as partially media company and publisher, at least partially, right? Michael said they're building a platform in a sense, and we are building an infrastructure that actually enables game developers to build games. They can build it for Pixelverse. They can build games, to be connected to the platform of GAMEE, right? So it's like Olympics is in a sense this way like agnostic. So anyone can jump in, download the SDK, and build the game of himself, and publish them with whoever he wants to publish, right? I remember when I met Gleb, who is like head of mini apps at Telegram, and he said to me like, it feels like there is like a new type of an app store that is being created on Telegram, and we are building something big, right? And like, so our ambition is to set like a front row seat in this process and enable game developers as much as Apple enabled game developers with like in-app purchases. So we want to enable them with the tools so that they can build games. They can maybe invent different types of monetization mechanics with our tools, right? So we are the enabler here, and just some results that we have in terms of the numbers, looking at the process of building a game. So like, we were able to attract Web2 game developers that accomplished their games on Telegram within like a span of 4 or 5 weeks, which sounds unrealistic for the first glimpse, but when you understand the product and the really easiness of building of a game, it's not just any game. It's not like a white label tap to earn game. It's like a fully competitive game. Like a real-time multiplayer. So this is the result. As for the game camp, I already mentioned the traction during the call. Like so far we have like 270 subscribers, which exceeded our expectations. We were aiming 150 to 200 with a KPI of 30 to 40 games. So I'm even more excited. We definitely will be like traveling with Olympics and Ton across multiple different events, like including Istanbul Blockchain Week, Korean Blockchain Week, Singapore. Also, we will be there at Gamescom with BGA. So we will be evangelizing that opportunity very actively. Also joining the game camp itself. So, we are here to enable game devs. That's our mission.
Thanks a lot, guys. I really, really value your time, because I think it was a wonderful conversation, and a lot of questions and a lot of answers from you, from every one of you. So I think it was very insightful. And as you said, Tom, happy to have you with us at Gamescom. Actually working with Kori to have to do something for Token 2049 maybe at some point. So like, we would love to explain what you're doing and try to educate people based on your expertise, and that's exactly what we did now. But I'm pretty sure in 1 month we might have another conversation based on what's happening in the ecosystem. So I will be happy to do so again. So thanks a lot for your time, guys, and I wish you a very good day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for organizing. It was great. It was nice meeting you, Michael and Tom.
Nice
you, guys.
meeting you, Kori and Tom.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.